origin story of Emergent 3D.
So I had been watching this technology for a while. And I grew up in a family of builders. My dad and my uncle were custom home builders. I had stumbled upon 3D printing, just doing as you do, going on YouTube and seeing, and I have 4 boys that are 12 and under, and I wanted to know what the job market was going to be like when they graduate. And I stumbled into 3D printing, and then construction grade 3D printing of homes and structures, and my mind got blown. And so our family, my wife and I and our kids, we moved here to Reading with the desire to start what I didn't know was at that time Emergent 3D, but to help address the housing challenges. We moved here 2 weeks before the car fire, our national disaster. And then I got hired. This economy went upside down, and as a disaster recovery zone. And I got hired on for the FEMA-funded contract for the disaster case management program. And that's how Don and I met, in being in the middle of our community who was grappling with how are we going to get recovered. We already had low, tradesmen and women, just not enough of the work, just in all that goes into it. And I realized, oh, this is going to be a solution, not the solution, but to help, address our recovery effort. And that was kind of the genesis of Emergent 3D, and the impetus is to try to get our disaster recovery families rebuilt quickly and in more fire-resilient homes, and 3D concrete printing that technology was coming to the point where it could actually deliver on what it was promising. And so I founded Emergent 3D back in 2019.
And Don, from your perspective, you meet Matthew through the FEMA program, and tell me a little bit about your background and what you bring to this, and kind of what excited you about this and excites you about this.
I've been a Shasta County resident for 32 years and have been a general contractor, a licensed California contractor for actually about 37 years. So when we had our car fire, FEMA came in and gave us the notebook that was about this thick that says, this is how communities like yours recover. And I was asked if I would join the long-term recovery committee that FEMA had established, and asked if I would run the construction subcommittee. FEMA had identified some 300 homes that were lost by people who were either completely uninsured or severely underinsured. We needed to find a way to get them back into housing. So it was during those meetings, we were meeting sometimes twice a week for a couple of years. It was during those meetings that I met Matt, and he told me this story about 3D construction printing using concrete. And if I'm being honest, I was quite skeptical. Kind of the old builder in me is, I'm old enough to know the history that California has had with unreinforced concrete buildings and seismic issues. And so I thought, maybe in a third world country and maybe other places I could see that, but I'm not so sure that's going to work here in California. But Matt had persisted. He got an architect going, he got a licensed California structural engineer going, and they came up with a system that when he presented that to me, I thought, oh my gosh, there may be something here. And I was fully intrigued, because now not only do I see that maybe there's a way to actually do this here in California, but it really addressed all of my pain points, which are labor force. Most people in construction, my age, when you're at my age in construction, you're starting to age out of the industry, and the numbers reflect that for every 5 of me, there's only 1 coming in. And so in my mind, that means we need to automate the industry by 80% just to keep up. And the fact is, we're not keeping up. California has a huge housing crisis. So this squarely addresses that. To be able to automate part of the construction process squarely addresses that. So another one of the big